Let's talk about how you calculate the present value when you have multiple cash flows. So we're extending the concept of finding the present value of one cash flow to the case where we have lots of cash flows. And this is going to be a very useful tool because when you value a bond, you get a stream of payments over a number of years. When you're valuing an investment project, you may open a factory, you're going to take in a certain amount of money every year for a number of years. So being able to do this is quite useful and allows us to do some really interesting problems. Now, all we have to do, the key point of present value is that if we can bring everything back to the same time period, then we can just add them up. We can't add up 1,000 plus 1,000 plus 1,000 because they're all worth different amounts to us today. The money we only wait 1 year for is worth more than the money we have to wait 5 years to get, because we could stick our money in the bank and earn some interest. So it's not worth as much to us today. The longer you have to wait for something, the less it's worth. So let's look at how we would calculate this. Well, what we want to do is we want to find the value of each one of these cash flows, the year 1, the year 2, the year 3, etc., at time period 0, and then we can add them up. So let's do that. All right, to find the present value of the cash flow in year 1, we simply do what? We bring this back one period. So let's do that. Let's bring this back one period. And what do? We're going to multiply by 1 over 1.06. So we're going to have 1,000 divided by 1.06. Okay, multiplying by 1 over 1.06 is the same as dividing by 1.06. All right, so I have 943.40. So I have $943.40. All right, I have to bring back this second cash flow, but I have to bring it back 2 periods. So I'm going to have to multiply by 1 over 1.06 squared. So let's do that. So we have 1.06 raised to the second power, and then we want to flip it over because we have just this number that's in the denominator. So we hit the 1 over x key, and let's multiply that by our 1,000, and we get 889.99.6. So let's round it off to 890. So we have $890. Likewise, we do the same for the year 3 cash flow. We have to bring this back 3 periods. And so we're going to multiply by 1 over 1.06 cubed. So we just keep doing that. 1.06 y to the x raised to the third power. Then again, flip it over by hitting the 1 over x key. And then let's multiply it by 1,000. And we get 839.62. Okay, and then we have to bring back the year 4 cash flow. So a little tedious here, but not very hard. You're just finding the present value of each individual cash flow. So let's multiply that by 1 over 1.06 to the 4th power. So we take 1.06, again raise it to the 4th power, flip it over, multiply it by 1,000, and we get 792 and 9 cents. So 792 and 9 cents. And fortunately, we're getting to the last cash flow, so we'll have to keep doing this. And we have to bring this back 5 periods. So we multiply it by 1.06 to the 5th power, okay, or the same thing as dividing it by 1.06 to the 5th power. So let's figure out what 1.06 to the fifth power is. Again, flip it over and multiply it by 1,000, and we get 747 and 26 cents. So now all we have to do is add up these five numbers. Okay, we've got the last one in there, so we'll add going back up, and then we'll add it to 792 and 9 cents plus 839.62 plus 890 and then plus 943.40. And we get $4,212.37. So, when you're calculating the present value for a stream of cash flows, all you have to do is calculate the present value for each individual one and then just bring it back to the present. It's a little bit tedious, but it's not particularly hard. And then you can add all those numbers up. In fact, it's easiest to do this in a spreadsheet. And I'll make a tutorial where I'll show you how to do this in a spreadsheet. It's also the case from this example that these are all the same cash flows. It's what we refer to as an annuity, and that's a special case of multiple cash flows where all the payments are exactly the same. And there's actually a formula for calculating the present value and the future value of an annuity, so you don't have to do each one separately. But we'll talk about that more in a separate tutorial.